Hello, and warm welcome to this webinar. We are here today to talk about transforming supply chain visibility at the Port of Gothenburg. My name is Josef Sandving. I am Head of Digital Business Transformation at the Port of Gothenburg, and I will be your host for the upcoming hour. As you can see, we have a full schedule ahead of us. And to take off, the CEO of the Port of Gothenburg, Elvir Zanic, will present why digitalization is an important part in the aim to increase customer value. Secondly, Malin Collin, our Deputy CEO and Vice President Business Strategy, will talk about the importance of collaboration to succeed with digital transformation. To give a broader view, we also invited two of our project partners to this event. Marcus Ekvall, who is head of the forwarder GDL Sjöcontainer AB, and also Magnus Lundberg, who is head of Commercial Nordic at APM's terminals, to give their input on the importance of digitalization and collaboration within the freight hub. Our third agenda topic will focus on tracking your cargo and what we have developed together with our technical partner Wabtec. First, I will give a short introduction, and then Brian Hill, who is Senior Product Manager at Wabtec, will give you a full demonstration of our platform Port Optimizer Track and Trace. After the demonstration, we will have a panel discussion, and I will present you to the panel when we get there. Then we will finish today's session with a Q&A, so please write in your questions in the Q&A tool that you will find on your right-hand side during the entire webinar, and we will do our best to answer as many questions as possible in the end. With the agenda presented, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Elvir Zanic.
Thank you so much, Joseph. It's really exciting to be here this morning and to present the work that's been done behind the scenes so far. I would like to start off by commenting on what the Port of Gothenburg aims at together with its partners, of course. We aim to be the world's most competitive port. That's not to be confused to be the world's largest port, but the world's most competitive port. We've been in business for 400 years. And during these 400 years, we have always been a guarantor for the industry's access to the world between Sweden and the rest of the world. We take a lot of pride in that work. As we embark on the next 400 years of that mission, of that right to exist, we've made a decision together with the partners at the Port of Gothenburg complex to focus on competitiveness, to focus on matters that grant and provide competitive advantage to the global supply chain market. And when we ask our customers, whether they be truckers, cargo owners, or shipping companies, what grants competitiveness to you in this modern day of age in terms of supply chain, the answers are to focus on smart port activities, to grant visibility to the supply chain, the type of visibility that makes the supply chain neater, more effective, less impact on the environment. Further on, the customers also say that we need to focus on growth because logistics is a matter of growth. It's a matter of having a lot of cargo on the same place, scale of economy, if you will. Thirdly, the customers say focus on environment. The type of environment that helps us save the world, because at the end of the day, none of us can do business, any type of it, on a dead planet. And here is where the smart port activities and digitalization comes and binds these together, because we feel that it's an enabler both to minimize the aspect and the impact on the environment by optimizing your supply chain through visibility. And it also provides proper incentives for growth because visibility shows us in the supply chain where we have excess capacities. Now, having concluded that we want to be the most competitive port in the world, we also know that we cannot do it alone because in terms of port complexes and logistics. It is not a solo game. So next slide, please. Thank you. Here we see the value proposition, and this value proposition is what we bring to the market together with our partners. Partners of which we have represented today, amongst others, GDL and APM. And together we provide this aggregated value proposition to the global supply chain market. And as you can see, digitalization and smart port activities are a cornerstone of our joint aggregated value proposition. A cornerstone, because they impact both growth and they impact environment. And the Port of Gothenburg value proposition, the complexes value proposition, is what we bring together with our partners, and this is what we hope to generate enough competitive advantage to the market. I will not get into the specifics. I will let my colleagues get into it. But again, bear in mind, we have been in business for 400 years, and only together with the entire port complex operators, truckers, forwarders, cargo owners, the total system, we will work towards creating that competitive advantage that you can see in your daily business on a day-to-day scale moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Elvir, for that introduction. We now have an idea how the port can gain value through digitalization. Now, I would like to introduce Malin Collin, who will highlight how the Freight Hub can collaborate in digitalization.
Thank you, Josef. This session is about collaboration in the Freight Hub, in the supply chain, and the importance of collaboration to be able to succeed with the digital transformation. As we can see behind me, there is a large, complex network with stakeholders within the Freight Hub and in the supply chain. And we find it very important to address this complexity. We see the complexity is high and the timing is very important, and we have a situation in the world right now that's making this issue much more correct at the time. And as we see, we work with the different stakeholders in the network, and everybody have a small piece or a large piece of the puzzle, and we all need to collaborate. It's not just only technology and data, it's also the collaboration between the parties in the network. We can see the network, and it's a lot of channels, it's a lot of information that flows between the stakeholders in the network, and in worst case, the information doesn't flow at all, or it's totally manual. And where are we aiming as support in this complex network and the world's progress in digitalization? We want to drive competitive advantage, as Elvir told you in the further presentation. And we as a port, the Scandinavian's largest port, we know what kind of problem there are, and we know the importance of competitive advantage in a globally connected world, and we want to be an integrated that address this issue. And what do we want to do? We want to help the shipping companies, the cargo owners, to get the product faster to the market. We want to enable international trade flows to empower commerce globally. And what are the potentials? We want to increase real-time information and predictability. This will lead to better planning and more efficient operations. And we think that these kind of systems and collaborations will lead to better choices towards a more sustainable value chain. And we have a current example. We're working with optimizing the port call. And this is a quite good example of how we will reduce waiting time and idle, which are two big important questions in the port. I'm not going to try to predict how this journey will end or where it will take us, but we can see what direction we need to go in, and that's the most important thing. And to do this, we need the collaboration between you and us, because we want to be the integrator in the puzzle. I want to give you some few examples. We want to have an active role in the digitalization. We want to lead projects within the freight hub to increase throughput, sustainability, efficiency, and increase the service level in the port. And we have some concrete examples. We have Albert that is launched recently, and this is a visibility system for digital berth planning, which make the efficiency in the port much better. We have rail port optimization. We work with the rail operator to increase the digitalization between information sharing between the port and the terminal operator and the rail port interests. And we're also going to talk about VAV, as we call the project, which Track and Trace is a part of. And this is a cargo-focused project where we connect the port with the inland terminals and going to take it further to the other side of the sea. So now I want to present our partners. Today we have Marcus from GDL here, and he has been one of the partners to develop the tracking tools in Port Optimizer Track and Trace. Welcome, Marcus.
Said, I'm representing GDL Sjöcontainer. We are Sweden's largest carrier of shipping containers. We are handling transport by truck and trains. Our offices is in Gothenburg, Helsingborg, and in Stockholm. We also operate two intermodal terminals, one in Katrineholm and one in Helsingborg. And part of our corporate vision is to continue developing sustainable transport and also continuing to develop the digitalization of these transports to give the clients the information that they want. And we ourselves restarted our digitalization journey this year when we started a collaboration with a company who are a specialist on integration between systems, and all our traffic from our TMS system in and out going through this partner right now. The challenge before we were able to, the challenge that we had before were to give our customers the information that they wanted. In some case, we do have the information in our TMS system, but many times the information has to be processed or reworked before it's understandable for another system. Now we can, together with our collaboration partner, do this first and then present the data in an easy and more understandable way. It also gives us the opportunity to connect from more sources and provide even better information to our clients. And with this as a small background, this VAV project led by the Port of Gothenburg and including several other stakeholders really did suit us good at this time, and it's important for us to be a part of this platform. First of all, it will create opportunities for us to get information directly into our system to reduce the manual work we're doing today. And of course, it's also important for us to provide information to this platform As we all know, there's a lot of companies involved in the transport chain, and a lot of phone calls being made, a lot of emails being sent to get the right information. And many times our customer is not the one that receives the container for load or unload, and it's mostly a third part, and we don't have any integration with them or direct contact at all eventually. But now with the port optimizer that will be demonstrated today by Brian and his team, this third part can go in and create an account, and as long as they know the container ID, they will get the information. And my belief is that it will save a lot of time and frustration from their side to get the first-hand information to know where the container is. And hopefully it's easier for them to plan their resources better. So I think it's an important step for Gothenburg to be competitive in getting goods into Gothenburg.
Thank you very much. Interesting to hear what you think about it and how you were going to relate to the information. And we also have another partner, APM Terminals, and sorry, maybe I should. And APM Terminals is represented by Magnus, and he joins us by link because he's in Denmark. Welcome, Magnus.
Thank you very much, Molly. Thank you.
Yeah, the scene is yours, Magnus.
Okay. Yeah. We are very happy for this day when this port optimizer track and trace is getting launched, and the digital journey, just as Elvir, Malin, and Marcus has talked a lot about, is something that we take very seriously, and we don't do it for our own sake. We do it to serve all the customers that are around the globe, because we want to be the real integrator of container logistics and provide port solutions that are actually in the forefront. And in 2019, we launched what we call the Green Gothenburg Gateway, where we connect the whole of Sweden and the world with sustainable solutions through the port. And among that, we have since then fossil-free container handling in our terminal, and that is also connected through the very extensive rail port and rail network that there is in Sweden. And digital information is a key enabler to make this actually work for all companies. Because when we listen to the customers and when we ask the customer, what is it that you actually need? What do you want from us in the future? And it has already been mentioned from Marcus and Malin that they want data that they can believe in and data that they can also act upon. So this is an important step to provide this kind of data. And as APM Terminals, we work with several projects around the place, and we also have a few important projects ourselves to be able to provide data to these kind of platforms. And this is an important platform for the port complex in Gothenburg. And of course, we want to support that as much as we can. And going forward, we hope that we continue not to only provide data for visualization, but actually provide data so we can act differently. So perhaps if something is delayed or whatever, there is a possibility to take action on that, and also to have direct contact with us as one example. So we are really looking forward, and this is a very, very important step for the port complex, and we are very, very happy to be a part of this, and we're really looking forward to the journey ahead and all the feedback and input that will come from our customers, so that we can really start to use the platform in a very good way going forward.
Thank you, Magnus. Very glad to hear that you have the same thoughts of the process forward, and we're very glad to have this near collaboration with you and the data sharing. So thank you very much. Josef?
Thank you.
Thank you, Malin, Marcus, and Magnus, for your interesting thoughts about digitalization and collaboration. Let us now move into more details about what we have developed for enabling tracking of cargo. Let's start with an example. A cargo owner is waiting for its priority cargo and wants an update on current status and wants to know if it still can be expected on time. How could that look today? Well, first, check different shipping company sites to see if the cargo is still at the sea. And then after that, look into another system at the port terminal to see if the container is there or has left the port terminal, just to realize that a phone call or two is still needed to the rail forwarder or the inland terminal to get a real update on the current status of the cargo. What would be different with Port Optimizer Track and Trace? Well, you would log in to one web application, you would enter a container number or several, and then you would know where the container has been, where it is now. You would receive an updated ETA, and also if there are any deviations, you would already be notified about that. But why track and trace, you might say? There are several other track and trace applications on the market. What makes this one unique? Well, this track and trace application is a result of a fantastic collaboration with partners to consolidate information from stakeholder, enterprise to enterprise, into a neutral platform. And this neutral platform ensures reliability, timeliness, and accessibility. It's a single source of truth that avoids siloed information. There are direct data feeds that in real time updates the status of the cargo. And it's easy to access information relevant for you with the user interface that supports your analysis. Port Optimizer Track and Trace provides better visibility to key port players, such as cargo owners, but also all stakeholders that are working hard to provide a good and efficient cargo flow. This tool supports better operational decisions. If you, for example, need to take specific measures to make up for a delay, or to let you know that an action is needed for the cargo to be available. So where are we at with this application, and where are we going? Well, everything must start somewhere. And the first step we have made is to integrate data sources to map the cargo's way by train between Port of Gothenburg and inland terminals. And the first activated cargo corridor is the one between Gothenburg and Eskilstuna. We have elements of port terminal, rail forwarders, inland terminals, and also train operators through Swedish Transportation Administration. And we will continue to add more cargo corridors. And we will add data sources on the seaside as well to cover more of the supply chain. And of course, the journey will not end there. New functionalities will be added as we continue to explore the benefits to actors to and from and within the port. Now, when you have had a taste of what is possible in this application, now and in the future, I think it's time for me to hand over to a key enabler in this project. I give you Brian. He comes from our technical partner WebTech, and I think we also should say that you have come directly from the US for this event to demonstrate to us Port Optimizer Track and Trace.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joseph. We appreciate it. Get logged in here. Thank you, Joseph. I appreciate it. We're very excited to demonstrate Port Optimizer Track and Trace for everyone. To start, it's important to understand where Port Optimizer, Track, and Trace came from. And you've heard the comments from the Port of Gothenburg, our partners at GDL with Marcus and APM with Magnus and the teams. Port Optimizer strives to bring together a lot of different data sources. It's built upon a data foundation that takes in data from any number of different sources and brings it into a simple, easy to use application that anybody can come in and track their cargo and understand what's actually happening. So with that, I'd like to walk you through the Port Optimizer application. It's designed to be easy to use. And it starts by simply adding your containers. When you come in, you know the container numbers that you want to track through the supply chain at the Port of Gothenburg. You can enter them in either through typing them in. You can do a batch upload. Multiple ways of getting that data into the system. And once you do that, we're going to start tracking it. And as those containers move through the system, whether that's through the marine terminal, on the rail system, ultimately into the inland terminal, you're going to be able to follow that cargo and understand changes in ETAs. When did things arrive? All of that data aggregated into this single pane of glass view that Joseph talked about. So this is the interface. I've actually added some containers that are moving through Gothenburg now. And this is what a user would see. So once you've added your containers, you've got this nice high level view right here at the top. I've got 51 containers in my system, 33 are imports, 18 exports, 5 are currently in an available status, meaning they're available at APM terminals. You can go and pick those up. 3 have some holds in place that will need to be worked through. And then I'm able to see all of that from this container detail view. If there are holds in place, you would be able to see that information there and act upon it. Container number. What was the last event occurred and when did that happen? In these cases, these containers arrived or they discharged from the vessel. The origin and the destination. In this case, I have train name. So I want to know what train is those containers going to be on? What vessel did they arrive on? When did that vessel arrive? ETAs, ATAs. And you can see my name because I added these. And if you're in an organization where you have multiple users, you'd be able to have that information there. So you can have individuals within your organization track specific containers that might be relevant to their particular role. And these fields are able to be sorted. You can move them around if you want to. You can even customize them. There are other additional pieces of information that can be available as well. If I wanted to know shipping line, for example, I can come in, click that, save it, and now it's going to add that shipping line column right there. And so I can know which shipping line was responsible for my container. You have the ability to set priority. This is an internal view. So if that hot container that you really want to make sure you know what's happening, it's very important. You can come in and just simply turn on a flag and be able to easily find and sort to that container quickly and easily. There's filtering options. If you're trying to find things that you want to track, say I want to just see my containers that are heading to Eskilstuna, I can quickly filter right into that. And now Port Optimizer is going to sort directly to that information. You can see that information there. Turning filters on and off is as simple as clicking a button to go back to my starting point. But that's not the only way to look at data. There are other ways to get into it, such as detail. I want to know more about the specific container. Clicking on a container number is going to bring up a detailed view. So where is the container going? What's the current location? Last event, event details. And then you start to get into more specific information. Is it available and ready for pickup yet? Are there holds? Is it hazardous or not? What's the size and type? So if you think about that truck user, making sure they have the right equipment to move the container, or do they have the right wagon for the rail moves? What train is it on? The wagon number, if it's assigned. ETAs and ATAs being updated in near real time as those events occur, constantly updating within the system. Shipping line information, including what berth did the container arrive at. And then we have what we call the tracker down here at the bottom. So as events occur, the tracker is going to give you that high level view of what your container is doing. So in this particular example, it arrived on the Aries J vessel, docked. We can see when that container discharged with the date and timestamp. It loaded to a rail. We've got the wagon number. When did it depart the marine terminal? When did it arrive at the inland location? And then ultimately, once it outgates at that inland location via truck, that information will populate as well. And so as you're tracking your containers through Port Optimizer, you're going to be able to see this information update in real time as events occur. You can also view information in different ways. So not only can you view this container view, show me everything at once, I just want to see everything, but possibly you want to sort it by other methods. So you can view it by vessel. What ships were part of my particular container journey? So in the example here, I've got 4 import containers that came in on the Navi Baltic. So not only can I see that ship, I can see where it came from, where it's ultimately going, vessel code information, the marine terminal, how many containers I had on it, ETA, ATA, ETD, ATD, those numbers updating in real time. But even clicking on the ship name, I can now sort to the containers that were specifically part of that ship. So for that user in your organization that thinks at a vessel level, this is a quick way to get to that data. And again, just as before, you can click to get right into that detail view. So multiple pathways into this additional data. There's also the train view. Train view is something that was really exciting as we started working with our partners at the Port of Gothenburg. It's a very important part of the supply chain in Sweden. And so being able to track that cargo from the marine terminal through the rail system into these inland terminal locations became critical. And knowing what's happening along that train route was a very big place where people were losing visibility. We've managed to try to solve that problem. And so this is a way of viewing your cargo by the rail information. What train is it on? Even including specific train ID information. And this kind of speaks to information or what Marcus said earlier. Even though the initial version of the tool, and as Joseph said, you have to start somewhere. It's about sharing information, to cargo owners and folks like that. But ultimately, this data can go back, and we work with our data partners to where that data is transferring in multiple directions. So possibly it's sharing additional train information with Marcus's team, or potentially bringing cargo owner information back to the terminals. As you see, you can tell how the train is moving, whether it's early, whether it's on time. If a train is delayed, that information would show there as well. You can click into one of these, just click on the train tracker, and it's going to give you the actual train schedule. So as that train is moving along the Swedish rail system, you're going to be able to see as it goes past each reader and each station and understand how is the train performing at that time. And you'll see the difference in the time. So what was the plan? When did it actually get there? And you'll see those station locations. And for trains that are actually moving, this updates in real time. So as that train is moving down the tracks and it goes past a read, this information would populate in the system. So you'll be able to understand, is my cargo moving on time? Is it delayed? And if it is delayed, how can that affect your downstream decision making? Making sure that your warehouse is ready, your trucks are ready at the inland terminal location. Again, just as with the vessel view, you can view the cargo that you have on a specific train simply by clicking the train name. So once I click that, I'm going to come in and I'm going to see my containers that are part of that specific train. And just as before, I can come in and click that container number to get right into that detailed view. Tracker and all. I want to be able to know what's happening and I want to see it. And finally, there's the terminal view. Terminal view really starts to break information down by the specific terminals where your cargo is at or where it's ultimately going. You can see we have both the marine terminal and our inland terminal, and you can start to look at specific information. At our marine terminal, not only do we have information about your specific cargo, but you can start to see some updated schedule information. I want to understand what vessels are due to arrive at the marine terminal in the next couple of weeks. Well, we've got that information there for you with their schedule. But I can also start to look at what do I have at that terminal that's expected to go outbound rail? What do I have that's expected to come back? Same at the inland terminal. What's going outbound? What's coming back inbound? And as before, clicking into one of these buttons is going to bring me right to that specific terminal. So now not only can I look at the specific trains, but I'm also looking at my specific boxes. right back into that detail view. But again, all of that other functionality that we talked about with Port Optimizer is back there. Sortable, searchable columns, filtering. You can download this information. If you want to work with it on your local machine and pull it down in a spreadsheet format, you're able to do that. It's all about making the application not only easy to use, but extensible to work with the other options that you have. But there's a couple of other things that get important when we think about Port Optimizer. And that's, how can I get to information even quicker, right? We feel like this is pretty fast, but maybe you're trying to find something specific. You've got multiple containers in your view. I need to find that one particular one. Coming up and clicking on the magnifying glass icon at the top is a universal search. And so I can search by vessel. I can search a specific container number or a train ID or by a specific terminal. So if I'm trying to find a specific box, all I have to do is start typing it, and the system is going to find that immediately and go, oh, that's the one you're looking for? I can go right to it, and now I'm directly into that detail. So if I'm trying to find, hey, what's that box doing? Where is it at right now in my supply chain? Well, I can see that, hey, it has arrived at that inland terminal. I know when it got there, and I don't have to worry about it. A lot of what makes Port Optimizer track and trace at the Port of Gothenburg powerful is exception management. When things are running smoothly, everybody's happy. People don't have a lot of concerns. It's when things aren't running smoothly that a tool like Port Optimizer really starts to make a difference. Because by eliminating those black holes and eliminating that lack of data, you're now able to feel more comfortable. You're not confused about what's going on. And one of the ways we also do that is through proactive information. So you can see this little bell icon up here. One thing that we have integrated into Port Optimizer is the ability to add specific proactive notifications. And this is a section that's going to grow over time as we add more and different ways of doing proactive notifications. At the start, we have 3 days after discharge. How long has my box been sitting on the ground from when it discharged from the vessel until it loaded to the rail and actually departed? You can get that through an in-app notification or an email, and it's just as simple as selecting it and going, I want to know everything that's been there for at least 2 days. The system is then going to actively look at your containers that you're tracking and know when did it arrive, when did it move, and it can see that information updating in real time, and so it will alert you right in the morning. First thing you come in, you have that nice email in your inbox, and you can plan your day and govern your day accordingly. Same with available containers. What's available? I need to schedule my truck to come pick something up, or my box is ready to go. You can simply set an in-app notification or an email as well, and it'll alert you to situations like that. Same with damage. Is something damaged that I need to know about, where I need to work with my terminal partners to get things corrected? All of that's there. And once you have those notifications turned on, they will show up. So in my case, I have the available containers notification enabled. I can simply click there, and it's going to sort down to my available boxes very quickly. And now I know these have discharged from the ship. They're ready to go. We know the team at APMT's got them good and prepared, and you can go and pick them up, and everybody moves forward. We're excited about where Port Optimizer Track and Trace can go. And again, just the beginning of where it's at. It's going to ultimately grow to extend into the seaside. It's going to extend to additional terminals. And the power of Port Optimizer and the power of the data system is that it is agnostic to data. It takes in data, whether it is standard EDI components that we've seen in the shipping industry for 40 plus years, whether it is new API type connections that are coming online daily. It can be an email. We really can bring in any type of data and sequence it together, normalize that data in a way that, you know, as you heard described earlier, where you're going to multiple sites to try to get something, we're going to bring it into that central location. And because we work hand in hand with our data partners, we can ensure that that data is timely and it's accurate. So with that, Joseph, I'll give that back to you. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Very interesting. Now we are moving into today's panel discussion, and we will be staying around the subject, obviously, and trying to discuss somewhat about how this will increase the value for cargo owners and other stakeholders. I welcome the panel to the stage. Marcus from GDL, you have already met, and Brian will also be with us. So, but we're also joined by Sophie Song, Customer Care Partner, APM Terminals, welcome, and also Jakob Minhagen, Senior Manager Market Development at the Port of Gothenburg. Let's start with the pandemic. We have seen a lot of disturbances in the supply chain due to that. How would you say that a tool like this can support these type of challenges? Jacob?
I would say it's, of course, extremely important in these days. I mean, normally we've been focusing everyone now in the supply chain to get the cargo from origin to destination, be it's import or it's export. But now the information has been more and more critical because of the delays and also around the globe. So the information also traveling together with the cargo is, of course, very, very important now. So the need for this kind of system and information sharing is more critical than ever, I would say.
Yeah.
I'd like to touch on that as well. We also work with the Port of Los Angeles, with Port Optimizer. And I'm sure anybody that works in supply chain is pretty aware of the challenges that they are facing now with congestion. And a lot of that is pandemic related. If we look at the beginning of 2020, cargo dropped precipitously in the first half of the year as ports shut down internationally. As it got to the second half of the year, that cargo started coming back twofold, threefold in some cases. What Port Optimizer was able to do was to look at the pool of data that we have and start to identify where focus needed to be. So understanding inbound cargo volumes so that the truck community could ensure they had the right amount of drivers available. Chassis is huge in Los Angeles, so making sure that we knew what was coming so you could plan for that. By giving things like we created something called the Signal in Los Angeles, and it's this 3-week ahead view where you can really start to plan, and it made a material impact. And even with the track and trace application, again, it was a material impact because as these ships were coming in, they were starting to delay. Previously, that might not be information that the user would see readily, whether that ship got delayed at origin or whether it got anchored out at sea and ultimately delayed the ETA into the actual berth. Because that information didn't used to get there, you would have a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails. Where's my box? Where's my ship? Because we have that real-time information in Port Optimizer, the user can log right in and go, oh, ship's delayed, ETA's updated. I know where everything's at. I can plan accordingly with the rest of my downstream. I can make sure that my truck is ready, my warehouse is ready, my distribution center is ready. And it really all goes back, Joseph, to that information sharing. It's partners like APM in Los Angeles that we work with as well. When you bring all of that data together and you make it available to the user, that's going to just calm them down. In a lot of cases, they're going to understand what's happening. They may not be happy, but they'll know what's happening, and that makes it easier to move forward.
Yep, interesting. How does APM see this? And do you foresee that these kind of tools would affect your handling in any way when it comes to delays, as Brian is referring to, due to the pandemic?
I think I can only echo what Jacob and Brian just mentioned. During pandemic, we can see the importance of reliability of the data, that for what it means for our customers. And I have also seen that through talking to our customers, we understood that we sit with important data that is connecting sea and the land. land side. So the reliable data means a lot to our customers when it comes to proactive planning. As Brian just mentioned, that what kind of resource planning you need to be prepared, what do you need to do proactively to prepare any delays or any data change, information changes. So I can totally foresee that in the future, and I'm also so much looking forward to the new development of the Port Optimizer and what it can bring to our customers. And at the same time, we will continue work closely with our customers to better understand their needs, because the data is the data. If you can't use it properly, it means nothing. So it's very important for us to work close to our customers to improve the way of using the data, and also helping our customers to find even better ways to use all these platforms to develop their understanding of our data and how we can better support them in the future proactive planning.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, and for us, of course, as a rail operator, we need to know as soon as possible if a ship is delayed in, and we can replan our train, contact our customers and let them know if they don't know that this will not work out, and we have to reschedule something. And also it saves us a lot of manual work, because if we want to know if a unit is ready for pickup, or if it's a custom hold or any other holders there is, then we need to manually go into the different systems today. And if it's possible that we can get it directly into our system in the future, it will save a lot of time.
Yeah.
One of the things I think it's really important, and I know in our conversations as we've worked through the development of this application and worked with Sophie and her team and Marcus and his team, we talk about data a lot. And data is important, but it's when you turn that data into information, right? And I think that's what we've all really worked with Port Optimizer and the digitalization efforts of the Port of Gothenburg. It's, I can give you data points all day, but it's when that data actually becomes information that you can use to make decisions, make changes. That's where it's really powerful. And that's what this application is designed to do.
Yeah, nice to hear. You have all participated in the development of Port Optimizer Track and Trace here at the Port of Gothenburg. What would you say was your first impressions, starting with you, Marcus?
First of all, it's really, really interesting and fun to work with guys like Brian who see the whole concept clear and can take our data that's not always the newest formats and so on, and can make something out of it. And to collect it on one platform, I think it's really good. So you don't need to use a lot of logins on different sites. So that's was the first impression anyway.
Yeah. Sophie, what was your first impressions?
My first impression was that this is going to be something incredible for our customers.
Yeah.
No matter you are cargo owners or shippers or the rail operators, this is going to bring a lot of benefits for all the stakeholders in the logistics chain. And then I also think it's very interesting with the discussions about how our new API store actually can contribute to this project using the newest technology or most modern technology that we believe is going to be the future to generate data in a reliable way to this platform and what it can bring to our customers in the future. So that was my first impression, and also very happy to work with Brian and the team to develop something new.
Yeah, nice. Anything to add, Jacob?
I just can totally agree with the speakers before, because it's really important that you have the information in one place, because we all know how many systems there are out there, and especially if you work with different partners, it's very important that you have it in one go, and also reducing the number of calls and so on. I mean, the frustration is normally that you don't know what's happening, but still, as you have the information, you're able to plan it from there. So I think it's a very important tool to step up, especially in these times.
Yeah, and if we look at the features of Port Optimizer Track and Trace, well, it's still in its cradle, but what features do you think will be most important for the stakeholders? And also, what features do you think will be important to add? What is the next step, would you say, feature-wise?
From my perspective, I would say, I mean, we all know that when you have the information, the earlier you have it, it's easier to plan for it. So if we can continue and get the information even further, even earlier, I mean, from the shipping line saying, okay, this cargo, this container, for example, has been is not on the vessel going from Hamburg or Rotterdam, for example, and now we can plan for it. And then information is available also for the rail operators and of course for the truckers and finally the customer itself and planning and so on. So, I mean, the earlier you can get the information, the better, of course.
Yep.
I agree with what Jakob said. It's about expanding. You know, again, like you said, this is at the cradle. This is the start. You know, as we're in Sweden, I think of hockey and winter sports. I'm a big fan. It's a hockey stick curve, is what we call it. It starts here, and as you get that information and data into the platform, you start to grow, and ultimately you have this very sharp curve upwards at the end of the hockey stick. And that starts by going seaside. That starts by expanding to other inland locations. What is really fantastic about working with the team at the Port of Gothenburg and working with our partners here is the inspiration that they provide. In conversations with Marcus and with Sophie and with some of the beneficial cargo owners that we've talked to, they are constantly giving us ideas of, hey, this is great. It'd be really neat if you did this. And it's those things are the things that we furiously scribble notes about because we think, yeah, that is a great idea. How can we help? You know, as Wabtec working with folks to partner to build this, it's constantly about discovering where are the holes. We all think we know where most of them are, and we probably do, but there's always going to be that next thing that maybe we didn't think about. And when you have a port that is being proactive and working with your stakeholders, that surfaces these things right to the top, and we can go in and try to address them.
Yep.
Yep. I can also see the same picture that went by through talking to our customers, and we hear basically the same thing, that the more information that can help them to take decisions, or the more actionable like features that for the customers to be able to see what choices they would be able to have, that will help them quite a lot in the future. And I want to speak on behalf of our customers we talk to that we really want to see more this kind of features that can be one click in the future and that help them to make better decisions for the next steps.
Yeah, and as I said before, already now with this first version of the Port Optimizer, information is available for the ones that should receive the container. And in my point of view, they get some schedule 2 weeks ahead or something, and then they plan everything from that schedule. But as long as the vessel starts to come closer to Gothenburg, the information gets more critical, because sometimes, say for today, and we should deliver a container tomorrow, we already see today that it's not in Gothenburg. If they can receive that information earlier, they can reschedule their personnel in the warehouses and so on. So that's the first thing I see. And of course, if we can provide more data to Brian and give more information, we're happy to do it. So they can follow the cargo at the same space.
Yeah. Collaboration is a lead theme here today, and this is a result of a great collaboration. But are there any challenges with a collaboration such as this when it comes to digitalization? And if there are, how do we best work on them? We can start in this end.
Yeah, of course there are challenges. Maybe it's some critical business information you don't want to share, but in our case we're just sharing the events that occurs for each container, so there's nothing secret from our point of view. But I feel this collaboration is really important to get someone like Brian and his team to be able to gather all the information and collect it to the same website or application, whatever you use. Because before, when you should connect all the different systems to each other, and that's a lot of work to be done, and I don't know if it's possible. So if we can provide to Brian and his team, and then they will share with the ones.
Yeah, so data sharing is sometimes complicated, but still a necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sophie, what would you say about the collaboration and challenges and solutions?
I think collaborations, it comes to different levels of discussions. And what I have been involved a lot is at the data levels discussions and what we can use the data to generate kind of value to the customers. So the collaboration between us and discussions about, for instance, what does discharge mean? And for the customers, what customers can take actions based on this discharge data, that has been very concrete and very good. I would say that these kind of discussions has bring the cooperation to the even a better level that helps us to bring something even better to the customers. So I would say it's been a great experience, and I'm looking forward to more collaboration in the future.
Good. Yeah. I'm
going to add one thing.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead. It's important.
Yep.
We started building Port Optimizer as an application in Los Angeles like 5 years ago. And when we started that process, the biggest hindrance that we ran into, quite frankly, was just history. It just wasn't common in the shipping industry or in supply chain, really, to collaborate. Everything is very siloed. If you think about a single shipping line, they know exactly what's happening within their particular world. But outside of that, it sort of went away. And when we started Port Optimizer back then, a lot of that was education. Let me explain to you why sharing some of this data is not going to destroy your business. It's going to help you. It's going to make your customers happier. It's going to make your life easier. What we see 5 years on at this point is what I'm hearing on the stage with Sophie and Marcus, where they're like, yeah, we understand collaboration. We understand why digitalization is the way forward. It is the way to really start to open up the supply chain and bring things in. From a Wabtec perspective, we're very conscious of the data that's in there. We understand the commercial sensitivities. We understand things like data privacy. We all live in that world. GDPR data privacy laws are there for a reason, and we govern to that. And as we move forward, some of those institutional barriers that may have existed previously are starting to go away. People are getting smarter and more intelligent about data and data sharing, and I think that's just going to really make things move a lot faster. When you have good partners that understand and partners at the port that see the vision and see the future, it's really unlimited what you can do. Yeah,
thank you. Nice talking about these things. Time is running out, so let's hear from the audience. We have a couple of questions that have come in. We have a question on API. Will that be available to connect with the system for the access of data?
Yes.
Brian, a short answer maybe?
Yes.
Yes, that's the short answer.
Short answer,
good.
Yes.
And the access, who gets access to this? And how do customers get access? That is one question. When will it be available? Maybe Jacob, you could answer.
I mean, the data you have is available for you. So it's not about sharing to everyone all over the world. It's that your data is for you.
Yeah. Information security is a hot topic. Could you say just a few words about the security aspects? You mentioned GDPR, Brian.
Yeah, we govern our data to GDPR. One of the things that's really important about Port Optimizer is that we're not actively bringing in what we would consider personally identifiable information, sensitive information. You're tracking the box. I'm looking at the container. I don't know what's inside the box. I don't know who necessarily owns the box or who's responsible for the box. And that's by design. And from a cybersecurity standpoint, our back-end systems are very well structured. It is cloud-based. It is constantly updated. We do everything possible to ensure that things are safe and secure. Your data is safe and secure. Your access is safe and secure. And we will continue that process.
All right. Well, I think our time is running up. We have a lot of questions, but that's good. It's an interest for this, obviously, and we hope that we find time some other time to answer all the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, as I said, our time is running out, and this has been a really great session, I would say, and the interest is high. We have a lot of questions, and we weren't able to answer them all, but as we have been saying today, this is all about collaboration, so please reach out to us, and we would like to discuss this even further with you all. I want to thank you for attending this webinar. Thank you for all the speakers and all the questions and the panel. And you can find more information about Port Optimizer Track and Trace at the Port of Gothenburg website. Please feel free to reach out to us, and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.